Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm making this video as a cautionary tale to folks who might be in a similar situation that I was in about 6 months ago. For those folks who work in the furniture industry as a salesperson, who for whatever reason think that it might be time to leave your current company. Now last year in 2020 there were a lot of factors that led to tremendous stress, but also tremendous opportunity. If you can't tell, I actually live on a lake right now. I'm 25 years old and I live on a lake. Granted, I rent it, but it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all the money I made last year selling furniture. However, that's beside the point. Around October of last year, October of 2020, when the inventory crisis was really hitting ahead, it was creating tremendous stress. Upper management didn't know how to deal with it. And frankly, nobody really knew how to deal with it. It was totally unprecedented, and I decided that I would quit and find a job somewhere else, potentially less stressful. Now, I had a friend who I'd come up in the original company. I'm not going to name the company that I originally worked for. It's a very good company, though, in retrospect. But I decided to follow her footsteps. She had been fired from the original company for failing to meet minimum standards, meaning that she didn't sell enough product, firstly, and protection plans. She was on the verge of, being written up 3 times for minimum standards and getting fired. So she decided to go to Lazy Boy. Now, I was good friends with her, and she was telling me about what a laid-back place it is, and I decided, well, I might as well go work there. So I did, and very quickly, I realized some major differences from, I've worked, let me just say first, I've worked in 3 other major furniture stores, and my mother, when I was growing up, owned a furniture consignment store, so I've been in furniture basically all my life. Lazy Boy operated totally differently from any furniture store, any furniture company that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange that I have ever encountered. The biggest shock and annoyance is that sales associates, it's not your job to sell. Well, it is, but that's about 50% of your job. There are no office associates. There are no warehouse associates. It is you, maybe one other sales associate, and a manager. Oftentimes there's only 2 people. On the weekends you might have a full house, that means 5 people. But in my previous job selling furniture, my job was to sit around, greet customers, and be charming and knowledgeable enough to sell them furniture, and I did very well. I was often top writer at the second company that I worked at, the company before I went to Lazy Boy. If not top writer in overall product, I was very good at selling protection plans. Now, go to Lazy Boy. I am not somebody who wants to sit around and answer phones. That's what you have to do at Lazy Boy. There is no office associate. If the phone rings, you have to pick it up. And if it's very busy, let's say, for whatever reason it's a Tuesday afternoon and there happens to be 4 customers in there, and there's only 2 of you, and the phone's ringing off the hook, well, you have to break away from that customer and pick it up, and it could be somebody who needs to make a payment, so you have to process that payment, all the while putting your customer on the back burner. And as far as I am aware, and keep in mind, I'm talking about corporate Lazy Boy stores. I know there are franchises, they probably operate differently, they probably operate, well, I can't speculate. However, let me point the biggest piece of contention. The compensation. At Lazy Boy, you are paid $11 an hour, base. And then, on any sales that you write, you get 2 to 3% commission. And you get no extra commission on protection plans, which really bothered me because in 1 month, I sold about $10,000 worth in protection plans. At my old job, last year, I would have made $2,000 off that because we get paid 20% on protection plans. Do you know how much you get paid on protection plans at Lazy Boy? It's the same as if it was a piece of furniture, 2 to 3%. The highest margin item for the company, you get paid 2 to 3%. And the insulting thing is that instead of looking for competent salespeople who know how to attach aftercare, protection, whatever you want to call it, warranties, if you don't attach it, you just get chastised. And they have these very insulting sales contests, which I like to call short carrots on long sticks, where one person in your market, which basically will consist of 30 to 40 associates, has the chance to win a $500 prize, cash prize, if you sell the most protection in your market. Where I came from and what I was used to, that just makes no sense. That is not industry standard whatsoever. So if you're coming from another furniture store and you're thinking about going to Lazy Boy, forget it. You're going to make less money. I did the math. I made, year over year, February of last year, working at my previous employer, versus February of this year, 2021, working at Lazy Boys, now with the increased demand from COVID, I still made about 25% less, writing nearly the same amount of business. Now there's something wrong there. I'm being paid less to do more work. At my old job, and my job prior to that, I did not have to answer phone calls unless it was a customer specifically looking to talk with me. At Lazy Boy, you have to pick up the phone to give somebody directions on how to get to the store. For some person to go on an interminable rant about how they saw a chair in a Lazy Boy commercial and they want to buy that chair. There is no way. And the CRM, or the point of sale software, is basically running on Windows 98. It's absolutely atrocious, and upper management just... The funny thing is, most people in management do not come from the industry. In the store that I worked at a store in Connecticut. In the store that I worked at, 3 of us came from the industry. Our designer, because Lazy Boy does have in-store design, and that's a whole other kind of, field that I could get into, but I'm not going to. He came from the furniture industry. He was very competent, very smart at what he did. The designers probably make the most money in the store, even more than the managers. Then there was another guy who was fired from his previous job selling furniture because he was not a good salesman. And he found his way at Lazy Boy. And one thing I noticed is that a lot of folks who are not good salespeople end up at Lazy Boy. And then the other half of the people that I worked with never worked in the industry before. They were all folks in my age group, in their 20s to 30s. Even though I've basically spent my whole life in the industry, I'm a little bit different. But still, they were all folks who, didn't know that the grass is greener on the other side, because it really is. Lazy Boy is looking for the sort of folks who don't... Oh, it's kind of hard to say. Part of me wants to say that they don't look for good salespeople because they don't want to pay for them. Secondly, their brand name is so big that the product, in many cases, does sell itself. But the thing is, the art of sales, being able to attach aftercare, being able to attach that warranty, you're not rewarded at all. But if you don't do it, you're punished. And that's not how it is, basically, everywhere else. And that was a major point of contention for me. Secondly, and I've already touched on this, but you have to run the store. You have to be a salesperson, and that probably constitutes about 40 to 50% of your activities. Then you have to be a customer service agent. You have to answer all the incoming calls if somebody comes in because their chair is broken and it's, a little old lady who, wanted to come in, and a lot of your clientele is older, so you do have to deal with, slowing things down a notch for them. Which isn't bad, and it's for, you hear a lot of interesting stories. That was one nice thing about the job, actually, but, So basically, you have to be a customer service associate, and every other day, once a week, sometimes twice a week, you get a truck bringing in new, floor models, and the drive team basically just drops it off. If they're good, they might wheel it out to where it's supposed to be in the showroom, but that's it. And then you, as a sales associate, you have to go tag that, you have to go figure out exactly where it's supposed to be. At least that's how it was in my store. Maybe some stores are a little bit better organized and have a better system, but that's how it was for me. And I found that very insulting, because I know that I'm a very good salesperson. I've consistently been top writer in multiple categories. In January, sold $100,000. The second closest person was $68,000, and my protection attachment rate was always the highest in the store. So, what did I do? Well, I quit, because I am better than that. And if you're a good salesperson, if you consider yourself a good salesperson, do not get a job at Lazy Boy, because they are not looking for good salespeople. They are looking for folks who basically man the ship, do as they're told, follow procedures, of which there are many, and many redundant procedures too. I mean, it's absolutely so ridiculous. I think back to my job prior to Lazy Boy, where if it was slow, I mean, it was like, I called it a country club lifestyle. We sat around, we joked, the sales associates, we just like sat around, and we got paid draw against commission, which most of you, if you've watched this far into the video and you're probably in the industry, you know what that means. So, if it was a slow day, at least we know we're making our, $17, $20, $25 an hour, depending on how good you are. At Lazy Boy, if it's a slow day and no customers are coming in, and that will happen quite a bit, especially in the summertime, you're making $11 an hour, and God help you, you might have somebody come in and buy a $1,000 recliner, and whoopee, you got 20 bucks. And if you tried your damnedest to add the protection on it and got an extra $150 on the ticket, guess what? You got another $250. What the? Maybe my math is wrong there, but anyways. So, the summary of this is, do not work for Lazy Boy if you consider yourself a good salesperson. If you come from the industry and you know furniture, you will make much more money, at least 20 to 25% more, working elsewhere. I believe the industry standard is 5% commission, more or less. Some places do it based off, written margin, whatever it might be. At Lazy Boy, it's a flat 2% if it's a design sale, which means you hand it over to a designer, the in-store designer, because I guess, they assume that the sales associates are too stupid to, put together a room, and most of them probably are, because they're working at Lazy Boy, and perhaps I'm becoming a bit cruel now, but maybe I shouldn't use the word stupid, but they're just inexperienced. I mean, that's the thing. There are not professional salespeople working at Lazy Boy. There might be some lifelong salespeople working at Lazy Boy, but they're not good salespeople, and they're very miserable people. Even good salespeople can be miserable people, but anyhow. So yeah, just a cautionary tale. It is a good job if, let's say, you're just a single mom and you need something part-time to do and you kind of enjoy decorating, or, you retired from another retail position, and you just need something to do, or you enjoy that sort of thing and you don't really need the money. One of my coworkers said, basically the only way you could do this job is if you're independently wealthy, and in some cases that is true. I mean, he made like $25,000 last year during COVID, and I made, twice that working at a lower end furniture store, and I was just like, wait, excuse me? what am I doing here? What did I do? My biggest mistake was following in the footsteps of a friend who got fired from a job, from a company that I succeeded very well at. So I suppose there's two morals to my story. Don't follow your friends just because they're your friends. Analyze what sort of person they are and their aptitude, and whether or not you're going to bring yourself up. It's a game of chutes and ladders. Are they gonna bring you up the ladder, up the big ladder, or are they gonna, just kind of help you stay where you are? And secondly, if you're a good salesperson, don't get a job at Lazy Boy. Alright, good luck.